So for the next 10 minutes, I'm briefly going to take you through some information about what is this Engineering Student Center we keep talking about and Bill referenced as well. Why do we need it? What have we got to show you so far on the project, and what impact we really think that this project will have on the EUS and the UBC engineering community as a whole. I'm going to ask you to hold your questions until the end because this lovely gentleman here is going to come up and help me answer them. So until the end, please, because then I can make him answer if I don't know the actual answers. So this is how we're going to do it. So, engineering. The first word of ESC is pretty self-explanatory, right? Engineering. It's going to be for UBC engineering undergraduates. Students has a little bit more of a meaning. We don't just mean student center as in you've got a building that the university owns and they put a student placard above it. When we say student, we mean designed for students, used by students, managed by students. We want this to be all about the students and have the EUS have control of the building. Center, again, is not just another word for building. Center to us really means that we want this EOC to be the hub of UBC engineering life on campus. This will be a place where we can collaborate with each other, where we're going to be able to relax and work both in the same student center. We hear a lot about the camaraderie that existed between UBC engineering alum, and now that we have 4,000 students, that's kind of harder to achieve. So with this Engineering Student Center, we're hoping that we'll be able to bring together students and increase some of those ties that we hear so much about from alumni. So what is our vision for this student center? 10,000 square feet. We want this building to be located in the current courtyard where the cheese factory sits. So that's in the courtyard between the Civil and Mechanical Engineering Building, or CME. That on the other side of that courtyard is McLeod, which is the Electrical Engineering Building. So sitting in that courtyard at 10,000 square feet, we will also build this building to accommodate future expansion. We're hoping that we'll be able to double the size of this building within 5 years. So the foundation will be built to allow for expansion. We're also going to take the opportunity of digging up the courtyard to revitalize it a little bit and change our custom tanking pond to allow for a slightly bigger factor of safety, as some of our taller students don't quite fit. In addition, we're hoping that the Engineering Student Center will become a home. 70% of students nowadays commute. It's because there's so little housing available on campus. And so this Student Center will really be a place that they can feel is their home. What's going to be in the building, you may ask? Well, in 2007, we performed a space survey and asked students what they thought their space needs were. UBC engineering students, of course. And over the following 3 years, we did a lot of different consultations with students. And this breakdown here of the different spaces in our building is a result of that consultation. So you're going to see everything from social space to group study space to quiet, dedicated study rooms. And the reason that there's so much emphasis on study is because a lot of the space that was originally study space has been repurposed for other means by the university. And so students are really feeling the crunch for study space, especially with most of the libraries being full all the time. Big Central is also feeling the same crunch. There's going to be things like office space for the EUS, as well as retail space for red sales, if people want to buy reds, which we hope that they will keep continuing to buy, as well as food retail space, which should be interesting and a way for the EUS to make a little bit of money. As well, you've got some flex space in there, and something that isn't on here but that Bill Richardson mentioned in his video is a museum of sorts. So somewhere that we're going to be able to bring all the rich history and traditions of the EUS and present it to people in a secure fashion. And we're really hoping that this building will live up to the new EUS vision statement, which is to provide a welcoming environment for UBC engineers, both present and past. So we're hoping that this will be a place, the Engineering Student Center, that you as alumni feel comfortable coming to and visiting, and that you feel like this would be your home as well. So as well as that, the big theme that we see here is collaboration again. We need a place where we can meet and interact with each other on extracurricular projects, entrepreneurial initiatives, as well as group projects. Sorry, while I dropped your microphone there. So this is what this building is all about, is about creating those connections and building that community here in UBC Engineering. So what's wrong with what we've got currently? Well, this is the cheese factory, which is the current engineering student space. And it looks actually pretty good in that picture. I didn't say pretty cute, but this was the oldest wooden structure building on campus, built in 1919. And there's a little bit of problems with it, a little bit of health and safety issues. Our walls are rotting. The roof is coming down a little bit. We have an infestation of wasps every year, so UBC is quite used to us calling the exterminators at this point. They just kind of sigh, and the guy says, "When are you going to be tearing down this building? You've been telling me that you're going to fix it for the last 25 years. And this is our heating system. It sometimes works. It's actually pretty good about that. And these are our friendly little neighbors in the attic, or at least part of one, as the student is removing it. The building was actually condemned in 2007, and students were locked out because there was a health and safety evaluation that was performed, and it was determined that the air was not breathable. Students should not be allowed in here, of course, should they sue the university or the AMS because of subsequent health and safety problems from breathing this air. There were some emergency renovations performed 3 days before frost, and we were allowed into part of the building. But it was always on the understanding that within 1 to 2 years, we would have a replacement student center. This is not a place that we can be permanently. It'll cost over $1 million to renovate just to get it up to code. And that doesn't deal with the problem of space. So how much space there is available in the current student center. In the 1960s, there were about 1,000 engineering students, or so we're told. 1980s, 2,000. Now, we've got 4,000 students. We hired a student researcher, actually Hans, where are you right now? Hans, this summer, to take a look at UBC engineering space allocations and how they compare to the past, so how they compare to the 1980s specifically. And he found that even though our population doubled, the actual absolute amount of square footage available to students has remained the same since that time. And it's been repurposed and reallocated between different departments, so there are some departments within engineering right now that have more space than others for students. For example, electrical engineering actually has a lot of space for their students on a per student basis. But overall, space has been decreasing for students on campus.